And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Michael Warbucks Show. Let's just get right into it and let's talk about the passing of Steve Jobs. He was born February 24th, 1955, and he passed away yesterday, October 5th, 2011. He was the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Apple. He was quite an inventor, he was quite an innovator, and he has made the world a better place for a lot of us. I remember my first computer that I ever worked on was an Apple. Back when I was in kindergarten, I believe it was. He gave us great products like the iPhone, the iPod, iPad, iMacs, AirBooks, all kinds of great things. Now, when I first heard about this news, the first two people that came to mind were my buddy Jim and obviously iJustine. Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there know iJustine, and I'm sure a lot of you don't know about my buddy Jester Jim. He probably has more Apple products than anybody I've ever known in all my life. His baby girl's nickname is even Baby iMac. I've included a link in the description below to his video and also another YouTuber's video. Her name is Fran Capo, and they both gave great videos on Steve Jobs, so make sure you go and check those out. Now, moving on, not only was Steve Jobs the main man behind Apple, but he was also a big part of Disney. He served as the chief executive of Pixar. And if you've never seen that special about Pixar and how they got started, Steve Jobs literally never ever gave up on them. It just shows that how much Steve believed in this company. He believed in making dreams come true. He believed in innovating everything. Steve was also a board of directors for Disney, and it's just a shame to see this great man pass away. Back on August 24th of this year, Steve announced his resignation from being Apple's CEO, and then roughly 6 weeks later to yesterday is when he passed away. Now, he was surrounded by his family, and reports are saying that he died quietly. He was one of the first people to ever receive the National Medal of Technology that was given to him by Ronald Reagan back in 1984. So my early comment question of the day is, what kind of impact did Steve Jobs have on you? Again, rest in peace to Steve Jobs. My heart and thoughts and feelings and everything goes out to all your friends, your family, everyone that you've inspired, everyone that you were a hero to. And the world has lost a seriously great human being. Now, moving on to other sources, if you go to the Apple website, it's right there for you. It's this black and white photo of Steve Jobs. And they go on and they give their statement about Steve Jobs. Also, Disney has released their statement on the passing of Steve Jobs. And it just goes to show the kind of impact that he had on people. He's truly going to be missed. Now, of course, with the passing of Steve Jobs, there's always got to be that one set of idiots that claims everything that he did was horrible. And I'm talking about Margie J. Phelps. She took to Twitter yesterday responding to random Steve Jobs hashtags, and she pretty much said that, you know what, all he did was promote sin and that they need to picket his funeral. If you haven't caught on by now, she's a part of the Westboro Baptist Church. Are you serious? Are you seriously going to picket this man's funeral? The funny thing is, this bitch, Margie Phelps, sent these tweets from her iPhone. How are you going to sit back and say that this guy did nothing but sin, but yet you own his products? You want to think you're big and bad sitting on Twitter responding to people? All you are is a heartless person. Do you folks at the Westboro Baptist Church seriously have nothing fucking better to do? It's just a shame. You want to sit back and say that all he did was promote sin and that hell welcomed him? I hope every single one of you at this church go to hell. It's stupid people like you that just ruin everything for everybody. Get over yourself. There's no need to even think about picketing his funeral. I wish 20, 30, 40, 50 million people would just come to your church and picket the shit out of you. Margie, you're absolutely worthless. The thought of you wanting to do this is just crazy. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope no one rallies around you, so you and your church can quit being a piece of shit. And why don't you actually have sympathy for someone for once? And since we're talking about people on Twitter, everybody took to Twitter yesterday. Everybody talking about Steve Jobs broke the most tweets record. There were 10,000 tweets per second yesterday talking about Steve Jobs. That is amazing. That just goes to show the kind of impact that Steve Jobs had on people, regardless whether you are a PC or a Mac person. So I've given you a couple links below on where you can see some of the people's reactions from Twitter, also some of the worldwide reactions, and also some of the media reactions having to do with Steve Jobs' death. I can't say this enough, but yes, Steve, you had a huge impact on people. And it's a shame that sometimes a person doesn't know the impact that they have on people until they're gone. So go check out everybody's reactions, and you'll see how many people were inspired by Steve. And I've saved the final reaction for last. and it comes from Bill Gates. He issued his statement yesterday talking about the passing of Steve Jobs, and he said this: "I'm truly saddened to learn of Steve Jobs' death. Melinda and I extend our sincere condolences to his family and friends and to everyone Steve has touched through his work. Steve and I met nearly 30 years ago and have been colleagues, competitors, and friends over the course of more than half our lives. The world rarely receives someone who has a profound impact Steve has had, the effects of which will be felt for many generations to come. For those of us lucky enough to get to work with him, it's been an insanely great honor, and I will miss Steve immensely." I'm glad to see that Bill Gates issued this statement. Even though they spent a lot of their time being competitors, it's good to know that both of these guys were friends. So Bill Gates, my hat's off to you. So to everybody watching this video, please leave your comments below on what Steve meant to you and what kind of impact that he had on your life. Alright guys, if you want to check out everything that I talked about today, check out the links in the description below. I was going to talk about a few other stories, but you know what? None of them were just as important as this. So there are a bunch of links down in the description. Make sure you go and check them all out. And again, Steve Jobs, you're truly, truly going to be missed. The world isn't going to be the same without you.